So welcome back, Wargamers, to another KingBonezai video. So this is actually more of a thoughts on and trying to convince people as well that in the new battle companies, there is the ability to use your battle companies in larger points games if your opponent agrees to it. And here's why I think tournaments should allow that probably, and why I don't think it'd break the meta and would be more of a cool addition than anything else. So at the end of the book, there's a part on using your battle company in larger games. First, you have to note that you need the points values. There is a part in the first part of the book that does talk about how much your heroes are worth in their points value. Page 7 in the book, it is at. So that is useful, and that way you can create these heroes. So why might you want to bring them in a larger game? Bring them with your army. First off, you're going to want to bring them because you're going to like your battle company. You're going to really become attached to these heroes and characters that have journeyed in the battle company, and you'll want to bring them with you, or maybe even in your narrative scenario, they join up. Maybe there are dwarves that have been fighting goblins in a campaign, and then they join up for the Battle of Azin-Olzenbar. That's an example of another use. And do you just want to continue that, or you want to bring them in your tournament army because you really like these guys and you like to feel that this army you're really attached to? The second use is obviously custom profiles that can, there are certain armies like Gundabad that lack a hero that is mid-ranged, lack mid-ranged heroes, so you can then have a mid-ranged hero if you upgrade them in a certain way. And the final way, which I think is absolutely really cool, is because you can just create heroes and not necessarily be someone you played a campaign with. You can have heroes like Turin, Feanor, Finrod, Fingolfin, all from the first stage. You can create profiles for these guys now, and if a tournament ends up allowing having these the bringing battle companies, you could actually bring elves and dwarves. You could bring, your warriors would still have to be warriors from another faction, but your heroes could be from Nolgrod, Belagost, and then you can add, for example, Iron Hills in the Battle of Azin-Olzenbar. There was Nain, father of Dane, and he doesn't have a profile, but you could make a profile for Nain this way. Also, Thorin's younger brother and Balin and Dwalin's father were also at that battle. Thorin's younger brother is Farron, and Balin and Dwalin's father is Fundin, and they died at that battle at Azin-Olzenbar, but they never had a profile or even were seen in the movie. They were just in the books. So that is another use, and yeah, the first stage heroes from, as I said, those ancient elves, Baron you could put in, just tons of stuff, and heroes from other parts of Middle-earth as well, the various kings of Gondor, for example. You can have those guys. You can have characters that, you wish you were in the game, but weren't quite, didn't get in there, and all of that stuff. So it's really cool how you can do that, and it just expands, the themes people can bring in the army. Now, some people may think this could cause a lot of breakages, making the game broken. I don't think so. And this is mainly to the point of where the points values are located and how much they're valued. So I'm going to reference the SPG magazine done by Tom and Damien from the GBHL podcast, The Palantir. Excellent books. Tom does mention how points often work, and this does seem to be fairly consistent of how each upgrade in stat is 5 points. The battle companies obey this after putting it onto the base stat, with an exception. Now, they actually pay 10 points for each attack and wound upgrade. So this essentially means that if you try to take a warrior of Erebor and upgrade him to a warrior captain of Erebor, exact same profile, but if you use the battle companies as opposed to getting the warrior of captain of Erebor actual model, what happens is that you actually pay 8 points more for upgrading from the battle companies guy. As well as a Gundabad orc, if you upgrade regular Gundabad orc to Gundabad captain, the Gundabad captain is actually 14 points cheaper than battle companies upgraded Gundabad orc. So, your basic profiles are still going to be better value, which means that, sadly, they're not necessarily going to be competitive for those who want to play their battle companies and have their named champions and kings do well, but it does make it so that it's balanced, and it makes it a lot easier to say, yeah, why don't you bring your battle companies and have those special characters. So I think that is overall quite balanced. Obviously, there's still some stuff to remain to be seen. You can create, as I said, some people might not like that you can now have mid-ranged heroes in Gundabad. Some might love it because you want to have mid-ranged heroes and things like that. But honestly, I think these are overall pretty balanced for that, and it allows you to bring a lot more characters that you wish were in the game, that, First Age is especially where it is, or characters that weren't in the Hobbit movies, but were in the Hobbit books, like Aslan Olzenbar characters. There were more there, and, back to the First Age, just amazing stuff, like tons of First Age stuff. You can bring pretty much all of that now and upgrade it. So I think that is definitely some of the very useful things about the battle companies, and why I think you should be able to bring them in tournaments, and it would work fairly well to bring your battle company in. Obviously, you couldn't have multiple warbands of these guys, I don't think, unless they allowed you to have multiple battle companies. But obviously, if they do, you can have these guys leading, or you can even just have them lead regular warriors if you're worried about, you want to just have that captain, that your name guy leading warriors, if you're making a Nain or a Turgon or all of those guys. Ornifer, Randall's father, characters like that you haven't seen. Characters just like that and all. It's quite, Isildur's brother is another one. So, yeah, just all those characters you can now have and design with this, which is why I think that between people being able to bring their companies that they really like and the extra characters they can make profiles for now, I think that is why it should be in a tournament, and yet still balanced because of the points values you have to pay. You're never getting too cheap, a character that will be too cheap. They actually tend to run on the too expensive side. So that there is I think they should be in tournaments, and that is my thoughts on that. So tell me in the comments below what you think, and give your reasons as well. That'd be helpful. And tell me if you're a tournament organizer, if you're thinking about doing this, or if you're definitely not going to do it. So let me know down below. And till then, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Support your Hobbit hobby, and Akman Ruki Astu. Thank you.